Hello, creation. I hope you're well. I've not been up that long. I've just had my first pot of tea. I've not written anything. It's another Astral Travel one that I want to tell you about, and seemingly there's a new theme that's opened up, and it's I seem to be mingling more and more with those of Hollywood, as it were. So last night, or this morning, whenever it was, when my soul was out and about, I was with a buddy of mine, a musician, and we were on a film set, and everybody was getting ready for the start of the day's filming. I was wearing it was like one of those cream dinner jackets, very smart, like what James Bond might have worn in some of those films. It was silk. It was very, very soft. It was beautiful material. I was talking to there was someone who was quite upset. I said quite upset. She'd obviously been triggered by someone else who was there, and she was a little bit was she aloof? Is that what it is? I don't know. Was she aloof? She wasn't really wanting to talk, not really. But there was something that had triggered her, and it was someone who triggered her. I believe that, well, as I remember, she said that the production team or assistant, I can't remember, or producer, it was one of them, was looking for me, wanted to talk to me about something. And this lady was sat down, not the production assistant or producer, it was the production assistant, I think. And she was, but this girl I was talking to, this lady I was talking to, probably about 20 years younger than me, was sat down. She had the most beautiful smile and deep green eyes, not like a light green. They were dark green eyes, but they were beautiful. And we ended up, we were talking. We got talking. She came round a bit, meaning that she warmed a little because she was cold at first. And I said to her, I think she questioned who I was, or the reason being there. It's a little vague, is that I can't quite remember, but I said, she was questioning who myself and my buddy was, and I said, don't worry. I said, we're professionals. I said, but this is my first day. I said, this is my first day. I said, but my buddy's been doing this for years. And then I told her he was a musician. Anyway, so we had this little conversation that warmed, shall we say. And then I went to look for this producer. Anyway, when I turned round, or production assistant, whichever it was, and when I turned round, Amanda Plummer, Christopher Plummer's daughter, stood smiling at me. She was smaller than me, probably by about, I don't know, maybe she where I was, she was probably about 5'2" or 3, maybe something like that, 5'4" max. And she said, "Oh, I've been looking for you." So we had a little discussion, and she wanted to know who someone was, because it was because they weren't happy. It was because she actually said, "Do you know who it is who sits there? Is this a friend of yours?" And she looked through this window and into this room, and it's where like all these actors would come and sit. It may well have been background extra work, I'm not sure. I did used to do that many years ago, but I said, "No," I said, "I can't, it doesn't come to me." I said, "Why, has he upset someone?" She says, "Well, he sits there and he doesn't smile, and he's on his phone the whole time." And which I thought, well, now I'm thinking about, well, it's a bit. But it was like they wanted people to appear happy. Now, if they were filming that, then fair enough. I could understand that if the role required happy folk, This it may all well be just seemed as, or it may seem as just waffle, really, but there is a point behind it, because of the nature of these out-of-body experiences, these astral travels, shall I say, that have taken on this particular theme, which is, like I say, now there's Plummer was in that one last night. There's been Joe Pesci, there's been Michael Jackson, there's been Eminem, there's been Vanessa Redgrave. So there's a string of actors, or in those older days, actresses, as they were labelled. It's all labels, isn't it? I understand why that as well. I understand why that was changed, because it was always the leading man, and they got paid more, didn't they? And it was an equality thing. Definitely, that's why it got. I mean, it's all labels at the end of the day, but I understand why it was changed. Definitely. For equality, and this is only my personal opinion, in doing away with the label actress, they did away with a big portion of femininity, I believe, just because they did away with that word, actress, so everybody's an actor now, which is quite obviously the masculine. Now I know that, and it's all opinion, this, there's no need to get trolling or anything like that about it, but when I understand it, because it was all about equality, but it came, in my opinion, it came at a price, and that price was doing away with the feminine, and I know it's only a label, but doing away with the feminine label, which in my opinion weakened the feminine aspect of within that industry. But it's just a way to look at it, isn't it? Everyone's now the masculine label, under the masculine label, for equality, which seems to go against itself. Anyway, it's just a point. But yeah, so it's another astral travel and another celebrity. So, a bit of a theme emerging. We'll see who next one is who crops up. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll speak to you later. Take care.